wanted to start off with a little bit of Man United today. It was reported last night by John Cross and a few other outlets that Southgate to Manchester United is now deemed to be unlikely because the times don't match up, because of course pre-season starts whilst the Euros is still going on, so there'd be a big overlap, and that's not how Ineos want to begin. What's your thoughts on that? Then a lot of the story has now gone towards Zerbi, and contact has been made and they're sounding it out. This was after an interview happened with Tuchel, and whether it's Tuchel rejecting United or vice versa, he isn't now going to be the manager. What do you make of it all, LB, in terms of United's new managerial pursuit? Of course, Ten Hag's still in the job as well, must be said.
Yeah, no, I've seen a thing about Southgate, and it is true. I had this discussion on yesterday, actually, on a stream, and it is true. Like, if you was getting Southgate, the better England do, that'd be the worst for Man United, because it'd be, you want England to do bad, so then Southgate can come into the Man United job and get familiar with United, with the players, and get to work straight away. And of course, the longer that England go through the tournament, not that I think we'll go very far with this manager, but that's a separate argument, the worse it will be for Man United. So I kind of get it on one hand. What I would say is that I do think that if Ineos feel that Southgate is the right man, then they probably should just accept it. But if they have a few options, I understand why they might put Southgate to one side. And as a United fan, I think you should be very happy about that, because I think Southgate's a fraud, man. I really do not rate this guy at all. As for Zerbi, as to where you go now, well, it's clear, whether it's the right decision or not, it's clear that Man United are not going to go for one of these more experienced managers. I know there was rumours of talks with Tuchel, not 100% sure what happened there. Did he reject United? Did United reject him? It looks like it's going to be like a Zerbi style type guy. So the question you've got to ask yourself is a Zerbi better than Ten Hag? And I'm sitting here thinking, I don't rate Ten Hag. I think this is another fraud. Is he better than Ten Hag? I know. Now, I know Ten Hag has just had the worst Premier League result in Man United history, but he has won 2 trophies in 2 years, right? How many trophies has Zerbi won? I think he's won 1 Ukrainian Super Cup or something like that. I'm not so sure. Listen, it's not a great situation to be, but I'm not so sure you can sell to me that Zerbi is a better option than Ten Hag. And that's saying something, because I really don't rate Ten Hag.
I know you don't.
All
season you ripped into me and him.
Yeah, I really don't rate him. But to be balanced and fair, Terry, I'm not sitting here saying, yeah, go and get Zerbi, he's better, because people hype up Zerbi, and I get that the way he plays football can be kind of exciting and that. But if you actually look at his record, he's had some dodgy jobs. I'm pretty sure he got sacked twice when he was in Italy, right? In his first 2 jobs. He had a terrible record. Go and have a look at it. It's horrendous. Then he went to Shakhtar Donetsk and done all right there. Won 1 trophy. But I don't know. I could be wrong. But in Shakhtar Donetsk, pretty one of the better teams in Ukraine, man. They're always in the they're always in the Champions League. So I thought that wouldn't be too difficult. But could be wrong. I'm happy to be wrong on that. He's gone to Brighton. First year, done well, but he did kind of just take over from where Potter left off. And that is facts. I mean, look where Brighton were when Potter was there. He just carried on. Last year, he didn't do so well. I'm just not too sure. I just don't know if United will get rid of Ten Hag for Zerbi. And I think the proof is he's still there. I don't fully buy this whole, if they sack him now, then they've got to pay his wages in this calendar year. I don't really buy that, to be honest with you. I just don't. I think United are in a tricky spot. I don't think they know what to do. I think they're confused.
I mean, I think the PSR thing and that does play a part. I mean, it's weird that I know the transfer. When did the transfer window officially open?
Friday.
Yeah, Friday.
But the fact there's been so few pieces of business by anybody tells you that I think a lot of clubs are thinking about the money. I know that the Euros and Copa America being on is a factor as well, and I think that all acts in. I do get your point. About is he better? And the answer is I don't know. Now, subjectively speaking, I love the way Zerbi plays. I think there's an excellent manager in there. There's no doubt. You go back through his managerial record, and there's some reading that you actually want to delve into a little bit deeper. He went to Palmelo and was there for like 2 or 3 months, only had a 7% win ratio, but, did well at Sassuolo, did well at Shakhtar Donetsk. Whilst he's been at Shakhtar and at Brighton, the likes of Man City, your club, arguably the best run team in England, put him on a shortlist to replace Pep. That doesn't mean he's like 100% going to be an elite level genius. He's being monitored, and I think it's wise that we talk to him and we look at him. I quite like our approach, though. And I know there'll be people that will say, well, Ten Hag's being disrespected. He's in a job. No, he isn't. No one currently is the head coach of Manchester United Football Club, actually. Ten Hag is the manager. Ten Hag is the manager. A lot of his responsibilities, barring being the head coach of the first team and picking the first team on match days, pretty much every other responsibility he's got is being taken away. So although he's in the organization as the manager, that role as of the beginning of next season, which you essentially say starts in preseason, so that's going to be 3 to 4 weeks away, his role will no longer exist in the game. It doesn't exist anymore. He either has to decide that he wants to take I wouldn't call it a watered down version, but it's a very different role to what he currently has, or whether he wants to stay. And then we have to go out and interview and speak to football, even if they're managers we're not sure on. Just listen to what they've got to say. Just listen to some of their ideas, some of their thoughts and feelings towards what we're trying to build, because you can learn off that. Anyone who's ever conducted genuine interview processes for jobs, I've had ideas of candidates that I haven't employed on how they would implement particular styles and improve sales. I'm like, that's a bloody good idea. I'm not hiring you because you're not right for us, but I'm going to take that little bit of information. And I quite like what we're doing in that regard. I'm personally a fan of Zerbi, but it's all about the right structure and the right approach for me. And that's what I've focused more on. There are people that want Ten Hag to stay, and I've said it all along. I'm going to be objective about it. If he stays, I'll get behind it. If we bring in a new manager, I'm going to get behind it. My belief remains the same from top to bottom, inside out. We may even take steps backwards before we move forward, because this is what I call a genuine rebuild. Not what Liverpool are going through, where they've got a new manager coming in after 9 years. Not what maybe City are going to go through next summer, where they might have to rebuild the midfield if Bernardo Silva and KDB leave. But actually, it's a rebuild where so many facets of the club, from literal rebuilding of stadiums and training grounds to the board changing, medical team changing, potentially the coaching staff changing, player overhaul, the whole club is going to be rebuilt. And Man United fans who have deluded themselves for the best part of a decade into thinking, all we need is a decent manager and a couple of ballers, and we're going to be back on the top, they're still drinking that Kool-Aid. They're the same people that said, sack LVG, this squad's good enough to win the league. Sack Jose, this good team's good enough to win the league. Sack Ollie, this team's good enough to win the league. It's changed a little bit now to sack Ten Hag, get rid of Bruno and Rashford, and this team's good enough to win the league. Mm-hmm. It's honestly, I cannot believe that the way Man United fans go on. I don't even worry about what rivals think to a certain degree. Obviously, I want your opinions on the show, but we are literally knocking everything down and starting again. And everybody's talking like the way they're criticizing this process of hiring a new manager. It's almost like we're a brilliant team and all we need is the right manager to get us over the line. That's not where we are. It's like, wake up and smell the coffee. This is going to take a long time to get fixed. So we have to be diligent. We have to go for it. And you are right. The managerial market, the managers that are available to us, none of them are outstanding candidates where you go, I've got 0 question marks over that individual. But that's what happens after 10 years of neglect and absolute criminality being performed on our football club.
Yeah, so, as well. Can I just say as well, right? I completely did sort of disagree with any notion that he's being disrespected here, Ten Hag. If anything, he's been given more respect because United haven't just got to the end of the season and gone, right, see you later. You are literally that bad, although I think he's bad. But they've not done that. They've kept him in place. And whether that is for an FFP reason, let's just assume it's not for 1 second. They're now looking at other managers and they're comparing these managers to what they've currently got with Ten Hag. They're not just getting rid of him and then panicking and trying to find someone. That would have been disrespectful because it's like, oh, you think I'm that bad? And again, I do think he is, but the club don't. You think I'm that bad that you can just get rid of me and just get anyone better? They're literally going through a list of managerial candidates and comparing them to what they've currently got with Ten Hag. And if they find a manager that they feel is better for the job than Ten Hag, then they'll get rid of him. And rightly so. Any team should do that, by the way. If any team finds a manager that's better than the current manager, they should get rid of him and get a new manager.
It's absolutely true. And this crazy thing of loyalty. What do you mean loyalty? And if you think you can make and the problem is with a lot of people in this world, everybody thinks short term. So they'll say, well, Ten Hag's won us 2 trophies. You might replace Ten Hag and then next year not win a trophy. So people go, wrong decision, didn't win a trophy. They're not looking beyond the end of their nose. They're not thinking about what the club has to do. We haven't challenged for a league title in 11 years. Let that sink in. And as much as winning the FA Cup and League Cup is amazing, and I celebrate it and I want those trophies, when you're the size of Man United and you spend what we spend, if you are not competing for your league, you are failing. Overall, you are failing as a football club. And we need to make tough decisions that are going to benefit the football club in the medium to long term and stop thinking with sentimentality. So many fans moan, oh, why are we giving that player another contract? It's sentimental. If we believe we're bringing in a better manager that in the medium to long term is going to achieve more, we have to go with it. If suddenly Pep was available to the rest of the world, it would not be disrespectful to Arteta to say, see you later, we're bringing in Pep. It's literally an upgrade. Now, I understand people have got a question mark, and this is where the debate comes in. Is De Zerbi actually better than Ten Hag? That remains to be seen. But at the same time, most Man United fans have been screaming for highly qualified football decision makers at the club for a decade. We now have those individuals, and we can't even go 5 minutes of sitting back and saying, I disagree with this decision, but I'm going to be supportive, sit back, relax, and see what this yields, see what fruit this produces for us and how it tastes. There's none. It's very strange to me. And there's multiple reasons. Some people just can't see beyond the end of their nose. I think there are some people that I'm not going to lie that are addicted to being angry. I think they're like addicted to their club being bad. It's almost like how they get their dopamine release, if that makes sense. But